NQ. And NQ's already up. Big move up on NQ. Gonna get a little bit of a SMT here. On the way up for a SPX gap fill. Hey. It's pretty good. A sweet long here. I wanted to see a little bit lower on ES. It's only about 6 points lower on ES. But we already got the SMT. And now we're approaching the SPX gap fill here. So everything about this kind of looks nice. A, B, C. Yeah. There's the gap fill. Sitting here at the centroid. There's fully priced in a 25 bips June ECB hike. The first time since May 4th. Alright. There's CRM. Beautiful. Service now. Beautiful. And some good plays there. Alcoa. Oh my goodness. Alcoa. Okay, SPX gap filled there. $75.80 is the line in the sand there. Are we gonna break up or reject it? That's the question. We also got decent news here coming in at 10. US ISM manufacturing. PMI. Got it at 9:45 too. For now, I think we're gonna head up, but okay. Complete gap fill. I'm kind of flirting with that 75.80 area. We swept Friday's lows. Yeah, it looks like we swept Friday's lows on SPX here, which is great for some upside. I thought I was going to do like a wedge. I had that wedge drawn out since Friday. Yeah, and that wedge seems to be holding up here. We were there was actually a reasonable SMT kind of play at 7:30 New York time, and ES had took out the overnight highs, and it was a high volume candle, while NQ went nowhere near those highs. So being 20 points up, kind of had to anticipate that we were going to close part of that gap. Instead, we actually ran further below SPX close prior to open, and we ended up opening lower than what SPX closed at on Friday. Not only that, we actually swept the Friday's lows. Yeah, so we swept those Friday's lows and bounced back up pretty good. That 75.80 area on SPX is the line in the sand. you can kind of see it, because not only was it Friday's close and where that gap fill would have been, but on a daily chart you can see 75.80 has on a daily gamma chart you can see 75.80 has decent negative gamma positioning, which is oftentimes where you'll see a speed flip. Which could be both where you could experience some sort of rejection. And right now we're kind of just battling that area. And we have 9:45 news coming. Hey, Koshik. Just on the phone there. A call. Yeah. The straddle price is 29. And there was actually a really nice SMT that occurred at around 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, so New York time. There's this positioning here at 75.80. I'm kind of treating this as the line in the sand. Whether we head up or down, that I'm not too sure. A tiny bit of SMT here that I'm seeing. Between ES and NQ. But no, we're sitting right at the line in the sand, so I'm not in love with it. Like, I don't know if we're going to be pushing up or down. Gap has been filled. Actually, 75.80 happens to be where the gap fill is. Let me transition back to the charts here. Yeah, I had this wedge that was drawn on Friday, and saw that we started rejecting over here, which is interesting. On towards the end of Friday. And when we got that SMT at 7:30, I kind of just took it on one account just to see how it would go. It's not, again, I don't really love trading pre-market, but took it short on one account. I think I only got like, I only ended up getting maybe 8 points off of it. Then we pulled back a little, and there was a potential entry on the pullback too, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it for an entry lower, so I didn't end up taking it, which is unfortunate because we ended up tanking. And part of the read was 7:30 New York time, we're pre-market, and I think we were sitting the equivalent of 7,600. So in order to gap fill, we would have to run about 20 points lower. We ended up running quite a bit lower. And ended up gapping down instead of gapping up, which is kind of interesting. Swept Friday's lows on SPX, which is, I think, a decent sign for the move up. And it was like a decent sign for the move up for the gap fill. I didn't play that. It was very quick. But we did get like a 1 minute, 5 minute SMT between ES and NQ at the lows there. So I guess it would have been like another, like, had you entered right at the bottom, it would have been like 20 points, which would have been hard to do. But I really like that morning play, 7:30 gap, with a potential gap fill in play. Yeah, 7:30 New York time. You're sitting 20 points above the gap, or above Friday's close on SPX. And in theory, like, I figured we might come back down and gap fill that, even if we ended up doing it during opening hours. But we didn't end up doing it during opening hours. Instead, we gapped down. So, and I was not ready to kind of knife catch that right at 9:30, because I think that was when, I think it was like the 9:30 or 9:31 candle that swept. That swept the SPX Friday's lows there. But we're just sitting here at the line in the sand for the day. That should decide whether we go up or down. Yeah, 10 a.m. news. I think there's some news that came in at like 9:45. Let's see here. The big knife down was from Iran, saying that they stopped exchanging messages with the US or something. hang on, did you say FOMC member Jerome Powell is speaking today? Or is he speaking like sometime soon? That's funny though. I'm not gonna be used to I think for most of my trading career he's been the FOMC chair. Ah, Sunday. Gotcha. Yeah, just watching this 75-80 area here. NQ was pretty weak this morning for that 7:30 SMT. Yeah, I want to think downside too. I'm with you on that. I was more biased downside at around 7:30 when ES was making the overnight high sweep. And yeah, I kind of wish I just held it rather than just take it off for 8 points. First above 30,500 NQ would be nice. 30,500. Oof, that would be. Would be very nice. I don't love that YM did like a 15-minute massive bottom wick doji candle, or a massive bottom wick with a flat close on a 15-minute. Makes me think that YM has some room to the upside. But you got a little bit of SMT here between ES and NQ on the 5-minute. The 950 candle is the high there on ES, but the 945 candle is the high on NQ. But we still got 5 more minutes until news. I should have slapped this morning's play, to be honest, at 7:30 rather than just take it on one eval. Just should have just cleaned everything and just maybe even held some accounts. Or I was trying to hold for the gap fill for 20 points, but it was pre-market. So I just wasn't certain where we would go. And then the news came in and then we just started spooling down, sadly. So missed that one. Still hanging around that 75-80 influence. If we do head down, I'd love to see that 75.50 area. 75.40, 75.50 area. That's about 20 points, 25 points away, I'd say. That low. I think at this point we're just going to wait for the 10 a.m. news. YM still trying to push up after coming down pretty good. Yeah, and basically all these blue levels that you see on the gamma chart, the 7600, 7550, they're pretty magnetic. But we just have to escape the 7580 influence to reach those magnetic points. Yeah, Alma also noted that her centroid 79.97, which is 7580. It's her line in the sand too. I think for similar reasons. Upside pivot. Oh yeah, while I talk about this, this is probably the best chart to look at. Upside pivot 76.28. The pivot is a high probability reversion line, but that would mean we'd have to go up like 50 points from here to get there. And would somewhat make sense based on positioning, I guess. 76.25. I don't think it would get past 76.15 if we get up there. But anyways. And her upside target 76.44, which doesn't always hit. The downside pivot is at 75.49, which is pretty close to that 75.50 influence that we were talking about on the gamma chart. Oh, here's 10 o'clock. And the pivot's heavily absorbing downside vol and good for pinning too, so should be interesting. Imbalance is up. Imbalance is to the upside. Downside is protected. Centroid will tell the direction. 7600 and 7550 are magnetic. Yeah. So she's saying the exact same thing that we see on the gamma chart. But the imbalance is up. I think it is a trappy environment for long vol traders. Think in terms of long iron fly, for example. Yeah, YM is not really budging here on this news. ISM manufacturing, what do? We came in slightly higher. US ISM manufacturing prices paid. Oh no. PMI, yeah, slightly higher than anticipated. Russia finance officials tell Putin war spend is unaffordable. When are we changing contracts? I think depending on which platform you use, sometimes they switch over June 12th. And some switch over June 16th, 15th, 16th, around there. But what you're like, so there is an overlap of like, well, once you get there, there's like an overlap until I think the final trading day is June 19th, I believe. I can check that. So if the final trading day is June 19th, volume normally switches over the beginning of that week. So around June 15th, June 16th, volume completely shifts over. Like not completely, sorry. There's kind of like from Friday, June 12th, you start seeing the new contract catching up in terms of volume because more people are starting to trade the new contract. And then on the 15th and then on the 16th, you start seeing that the volume starts exceeding the previous contract. So the new contract gains a lot more traction and volume. And really that's when you should start paying attention, is when the volume shifts. But I'll send you the CME yes, futures. I'll send you the thing that I normally watch for. Yeah, let me send this to you. I'll send you the link too. Okay, just sent you the CME link. And it tracks volume. So I guess like towards the end of the day, come June 12th, like on that Friday, or even on the Monday, you can check that morning to see what the volume was on that June 12th. And if the volume if the September contract exceeds the June contract in terms of volume, then you start trading it. Where we're heading here in terms of price action. Still kind of fiddling around here. I would like to see a move towards 75.50 since I'm kind of favored a downside here. And we're kind of on the underside of 75.80. We're below 75.80. So would like to see that move towards 5.5. Yeah, I want to think downside. The risk here is pretty large. Like, I wouldn't want to risk 10 points here. But the take profit would be 20 points. So maybe from our perspective, it's not too bad, but the only problem is I get the feeling that ES wants to tap first, and it could tap the VWAP for all I know. Especially after that 5-minute doji candle on ES. I don't love seeing that. If playing downside anyways. And NQ is kind of jumping up here. Still this 75-80 line in the sand influence seems to be what's governing this price action right now. And until we escape it, I kind of like a 20-point move either way. So down towards 75.50. Actually, that's a 30-point move to the downside, or 7,600 to the upside. I think we're pretty contained within that area here. That's just a GEX overview, by the way. Koshik, I sent it to you, your Discord, by the way. Yeah, still hanging around at a line in the sand. ODT positions seem to actually help define today's gamma charts pretty well. It's almost as if it's the only influence, but let me take a look at the depth view here. Yeah, it's just not much influence from the next contract here. It looks pretty weak. 75.90, I can kind of see some influence there. But I really like 75.50. 75.50 as a magnet. 75.50, 7,600. So over here, generally it starts slowing down in that blue zone. But 75.50 is extremely supportive, and it's consistently supportive too, across expirations through for the next 3 weeks. Like, it's almost permanently green across expirations. Which means it's a dealer long, which is a long gamma position. And the customers are short vol, short premium, or like they're collecting premium essentially. So, which is why it slows down price action there. Becomes supportive. But it's a supportive flow. So like the dealers are hedging against price action. If we move down, dealers are actually just buying up futures to hedge their positioning to stay delta neutral. Which is why you get that slower kind of effect towards 75.50. Nothing obvious here. I think the best play was this morning at 7:30. Pre-market, 7:30 New York time. I think was likely the best play. Reason being, let me pop up the other chart here. I actually don't think I adjusted my straddle. Give me one moment here. 29 points straddle would be 7,600 essentially, the upside. And to the downside, 75.43-ish. Interesting. Which happens to be roughly the negative gamma or the positive gamma influence that you see on the gamma chart, the blue areas. Okay, so you're looking at 740. There's like a pretty decent SMT here. We got a high volume candle after a overnight high sweep. And NQ didn't do the same, and NQ looked like it wanted to head down. So from that perspective, you got the SMT there. I think you were able to get in for, I don't know, I was able to get in for about a 5-point stop loss, 5 points of risk, which is pretty small. And rode this down. I think I took about maybe 8 points tops. Yeah, because I got in about 17-ish, probably around here. And rode it down to about here. I think I got about 8 points off of that. Took it off, thinking that anything can happen. Especially around like towards 8:30 and even towards 9:30, anything can happen. So I figured maybe I'll get another opportunity. On the 15-minute chart, I actually think I got an opportunity because there was a reasonable fair value gap here. But I didn't end up taking it. Yeah, I didn't end up taking it. And yeah, and then we just started spooling down because of news from Iran. And the other reason why it was also an interesting play was when you found that SMT between ES and NQ. We knew that SPX previous close, which is Friday, was at 75.80. And we were about 20 points higher than that. So I think 75.80, where were we here? Around here, we were at 76.20, which is the equivalent of about 7,600, let's say, right? So I figured there was a chance that we were going to run 20 points down. The only problem is once we hit here, it didn't take too long. Like I would have liked it to spool down immediately. It did not. It's pretty slow in the morning, pre-market. So I just took it off thinking maybe I might get a better entry. The entry came, I didn't take it, and we did spool down on news, but I thought the spool down would come at like 9:30 on open or something to do the gap fill. Instead, we spooled down further. I think we spooled down more than 20 points for the gap fill because we ended up opening below Friday's close. So we essentially opened up with a gap down, which we filled after sweeping Friday's lows. And now we're just kind of messing around this point called the centroid, which lines up very well with that 75-80 positioning on the gamma chart and the breakdown by strike. So there, I really thought that ES would touch the VWAP there. That's what I really wanted to see. It looks like we didn't, and we might try. Let's see what we end up doing here. Yeah, we really did not hit the VWAP there. Still hanging out in that 75-80 influence. Positioning is starting to look even more funkier. A lot of, I'd say these are short call spreads, customer short call spreads coming in here. To the downside, 75.50 is still very supportive. Yeah, short call spread, short call spread. That's the impact anyways. Massive positioning. And that's way to the upside, which we might head up there still. Here's the push. I think ES is finally going to see that VWAP here. Yeah, we cannot escape this 75-80 influence. Goodness. Really grinding it out here. I thought we'd get something a little bit more obvious to play off of. Charm is suppressive, but I think the value of charm is way too low to even matter right now. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Still like this to the downside here, but don't know VWAP tap. Got pretty close there on ES, but didn't quite hit it. I'd have to guess that either 75.55, 75.50, this influence zone, this blue area here, somewhere here will hit, or this will hit. But we're just sticking around this 75.80 influence right now. So until that's, until we break out of that, I have to think this is our line in the sand. Like, nothing's happening right here. It looks like the sizing of 75.80 has gone down about half its size. Any trades so far, anybody? None, yeah. It's been one of those days. The only trade was pre-market. It's insane. Koshik, I noticed that you don't trade pre-market much. Okay. Is there a reason why? Is there like a market reason as to why you may not trade that? Is it because it's low volume or something? Or is it just inconvenient in terms of timing? Yeah, this thing looks like it wants to come down. It's just been very slow. Mainly because NQ and YM are going in opposite directions. And it looks like 75.80 is coming off a bit more. Yep, I completely agree with you, Koshik. This is why I have such a hard time holding the market. Right, so like I saw 8 points. I was like, we kind of swept too, or are we close to sweeping on ES? So depending on which level you're watching. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take profit. Because I was concerned about the movement that could happen at 8:30 and then maybe run up had I held. That's why I took profit on that one. All right, so that is VWAP again on NQ. $75, $75 starting to come off here. Let me see what positioning was anticipating. Like 75.80, you get long calls, long puts from customers both ways. So more puts at 75.80 than calls, but 75.75 was a mix. Oh, actually, give me 1 second here. I was not looking at the intraday. There you go. That matches it. That makes more sense now. Yeah, still. Oh, there's more calls than puts at 75.80. So they're betting on upside. Majority of the people positioned there are betting for upside. 75.85, they're also betting for upside. At 75.70, they start betting on downside. Yeah, and this is all short put positioning, so their customers are generally trying to hold this at 75.40 or 5.50 in that range. So it should slow it down quite a bit if should we move down there. I mean, it's been pretty slow in general, so YM is what's causing this move to come down on ES because NQ isn't really responding to the downside. Yeah, just nothing to trade here. It looks like we're right back. Square one. Just not doing much here. Oil is up pretty big ever since Iran's news. $89 to 94. There's not much movement here. NQ. NQ is just pumping here. But YM's holding ES down. So ES is essentially frozen. What a grind. There's not much to talk about here. Okay, lots of SMT here. $75.50, and I still really like $75.50. Yeah. Looking at SPX, it looks like it wants to come down. It's just been a slow, nasty trickle down. Very like positive gamma effect, but we know here there's localized negative gamma there. Got 3 minutes left on the 1 hour chart, on the 1 hour candle close. We'll see what comes of it. But this 3 minute looks like it wants to come down a little. NQ, the 5 minutes, a doji close. Yeah, NQ's doji close. Interesting. A 5 minute, high volume too. So there's a chance this thing comes down. but I don't know that it'll get the correlation it needs to go down fast between YM and NQ. Yep, still nothing. Just doesn't want to move. So we got 55 seconds left here. Yep, still nothing. Oh, that's a doji close. That doji close is probably not a good one. On the 1 hour, that might want to run up. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that doji close on the 1 hour or further downside. I mean, we can still go further downside, but NQ is just trickling up. YM has been trickling down. 7550, 7600, they are still the primary potential magnets. And a doji close. On the lower time frames, like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, ES does look like it could head down, but I mean, doji close just means indecision, so my guess is that ES can go either way. It really depends on NQ here. Yeah, YM and NQ just can't coordinate a move. Like, this to me is dispersion. And I mean, you can see the dispersion. I think, let me see. NVIDIA stocks have made all-time highs a few weeks back, but it's pulling back. SMH in general, just stalling out for once. So semiconductors have been kind of stalling for a few days, and this gives an opportunity for IGV stocks, which are tech software stocks, to just rocket. And so far, it's been rocketing. So one of the plays that I said I was in is ServiceNow. I was in at about 90 bucks. Now it's about 135, which is pretty good. ServiceNow, and then CRM is another one. I think I was in at about a 175 average. Now it's sitting at around 210, 209, 210. So I just wanted to see this run up. Those are some of my swing plays or longer term plays. And the primary reason for those plays is just a rotation, because we've basically been in a period of time where semiconductors have been just on a rocket ship, and it seems very concentrated. And figured when those semiconductor stocks stop moving up or just stall out, we're going to see that same money disperse into other undervalued stocks. And software was just so hated. And during the summer, a lot of times you do get dispersion. So it's a good time to kind of it was a good time to pick up those undervalued stocks or undervalued sectors. Like healthcare related stocks I picked up while they were just absolutely hated. So I got a good price on them, but now they're stalling off on their upside, and just things tend to take turns. Each sector takes turns to run. Yeah, Coach, you didn't miss anything. I really like the 1 hour close for a potential upside, but doji candles are always kind of tough. Because you're going to be playing that for about an hour, and 10 points up from here looks okay. So you might get back to the high of day for the most part. But then you got the 1 hour fair value gap that can potentially fill. So you're looking at another 10 points above. And if you're looking at another 10 points above, you're looking at 75.95, which starts to be within that 7,600 influence. I'm not going to take any bets here. But that 1 hour read, like if people were short, I'd close out after seeing that doji, or at least lightening the positioning, so that way risk isn't so high. Because whenever I see a 1 hour doji like that closes within the confines of the previous 1 hour candle, just shows there's no more momentum to the downside. Yeah, I just realized that I'm not showing that. So 1 hour candle, there is the 1 hour candle here, 10 o'clock. The 10 o'clock candle closes 11. There's just very little downside momentum from that. So the path of least resistance would be up, and have to say it might be this fair value gap here. we're just kind of messing around that 75.80 area. That 1 hour doji, I've seen, like, to me it's just an indecision candle, but like I've seen that doji end up resulting in the next 1 hour candle headed downwards too. So it was almost like it's a breathing, a tiny bit of consolidation before heading further down. But it just tells me I don't want to take any risks. Nothing really high probability today except that earlier 7:30, 7:40 a.m. play, I think. Through my eyes anyways. It was an interesting 5-minute candle at 11:05. Wonder if we could signal for further downside here off of that. It's going to be very dependent on NQ though. Yeah, this one here, 11:05. The volume seems to really have kicked it up a notch there. Anyways, I'm not taking any bets off of this, so there's just nothing that I see here that's high probability, and if I execute, I may get executed, so I really gotta stay true to the trade plan and not take any unnecessary risks. margin debt. Debt has surged significantly since March. Inflation is shot up 3.8%, the highest since May 2023, and real incomes are declining. Meanwhile, oil prices dropped 17% in May because the paper market priced in a US-Iran peace agreement. The physical reality is that Strait of Hormuz remains blocked, and when the negative supply shockwave hits, oil will spike about 145 points. Hey Koshik, I was wondering if you ever hear me type. My keyboard's like crazy loud and clicky. Oh, and my mic is basically right beside my keyboard. So I'm wondering if you ever hear it. Like I think I've tried to filter out the keyboard noise, but curious if it still comes through every now and then. Gotcha. Yeah, it's super clicky. I gotta find a new positioning for my keyboard or something. Wow, this has been such a boring day. I've also started a 3-day fast to see if I can even do any fasting. I've never fasted in my life, so I was gonna try a 3-day fast, and I heard it also improves health conditions to achieve autophagy in your body, which basically destroys cancer cells or any cells that are, yeah, the 3-day fast. Basically on the final day, your body can achieve autophagy, which basically your body starts eating out bad cells, i.e. cancer cells, any cells that aren't good anymore. It just starts purging those cells. So I figured everyone around me is like 40 years of age. Even like some of my neighbors are like around like 40, 45, and about, I'm gonna say a quarter of them have cancer, which is insane. And I'm gonna be up in that age pretty soon. So I gotta start watching out for that, especially because like the food here in North America, it's almost as if it's designed to kind of kill you over time. So that way you're like dependent on the health system. So I figured I can do a 3-day fast. I have some skin issues right now, but not cancerous. It's more like eczema or psoriasis or something. And I think a lot of that is kind of linked to your gut health. And a 3-day fast will give my body an opportunity to reset its gut health. And yeah, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, what's funny is it was after I went to the States that like I went to Florida, and when I got back, my body just freaked out. Yeah, I'm currently just starting with so I just started, like I stopped eating as of like 9 p.m. last night, and it's 11:20 a.m. now, so it's really not, hasn't been much of a fast. Like right now it's more of like an intermittent fast, if anything. But yeah, Koshik, do you fast regularly? Like I remember a few of my Indian friends used to fast, but I think it's but I wonder if they were fasting because they were they're from North India, which is I think more they're likely Muslim, come to think of it. So that they would fast for Ramadan. Yeah, curious if you fasted at all. But I'll definitely be adding some electrolytes in there, like maybe just salt in the water, just to kind of ensure that I retain water that I'm consuming. Like the cells need salt in order to retain the water, especially because it's a longer fast. But it's just funny that my body just started freaking out right after I got back from the States, from Florida, eating like horrible, horrible food. Mind you, the food tasted good. It's just it likely wasn't good for your health. I'm also only doing a 3-day fast because I don't think I can do a longer fast yet. So I gotta like work my way up. Oh, you're saying start with a 1-day fast first. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just gonna go like I'm gonna go straight um with the 3 day fast. I think I will get very dizzy. Um, I've seen a few people blog about doing it, and they kind of lose their mind and their mental acuity. So, I mean, I'm still gonna be on here. Um, and yeah, I'll expect you to call me out if I'm being an idiot while trading. But otherwise, the time will pass by so slow. I'll be I'll try to trade carefully, but again, that's something you need mental awareness in order to be able to assess what careful is. But I was thinking of maybe only allowing myself to have one evaluation account. I'm gonna just close down my never connect my live account, and yeah, and figured Monday through Wednesday will be extremely slow. If I did not trade, and I need something like really pass by the time. Yeah, curious. How long have you fasted for, and what the reasoning is? Was it like religious or just a health based one? Yeah, the eating once a day thing. That's very. There's I think the monks practice that too on a regular basis, which is actually pretty cool. I was talking to a few monks about that at the temple. And that's something that they do. Yeah, because I think it's like intermittent fasting. But I'm just gonna go like you do this twice or three times a week. Twice or 3 times a week. That's actually really good. That's really good. That's just for health reasons, right? Like not so much religious. Yeah, price action has just gone back to 75.80 for the most part. It's been a pretty boring day, I'd say. Um, I I still am biased with gravity towards 7600 or 7550 for anyone else that's watching. And the reason why it's the positive gamma magnets. The only problem is 7580 has actually been magnetic, even though it's been a negative gamma strike, and a pretty large one to start the day too. That's come off. Yeah, to achieve ketosis. That's good. Off oil and sugar. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a hard one though, because almost everything is a sugar. Like you're talking about breads, rice. They all end up as sugar in your body, right? Noodles, uh, basically anything wheat flour. Yeah, yeah, okay, fair enough. Understood. I will definitely proceed with the 3 day fast just to see how it goes. Um, and I know today I might actually feel okay, but probably when tomorrow is when I'm gonna really feel it. But I've only been drinking green tea for the most part. Oh, I see. It's 2 meals. Okay. All right, there's the pop-up on ES after the 1 hour doji. Maybe I should have tried that long. We were talking about it, but right into the fair value gap. 1 hour ADMA rejection right now. But this thing should run towards 75.95, I would imagine. A, B, C, and then a run up. And that was like the first coordinated move between between YM and NQ, which is why you kind of saw such a nice fast move on ES. But yeah, I think the idea with the 3-day fast was to achieve autophagy. That's what I would that's why I really want to do it, and then also give my gut a complete break. And then hopefully any like skin flare-ups or inflammation just kind of goes away. And then I have to fix my diet afterwards. That's the hope anyways. We'll see how it goes. But autophagy was like another reason why I wanted to do it. It was like to get rid of any potential cancer cells and cells that are just consuming energy for no reason. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, like for someone who hasn't fasted before. But I've done like the 16-hour thing where I think they call it intermittent fasting. Sounds like what you're talking about. And I do it more times in a week than I probably should. But I think I was more worried about after coming back from Florida in the States, and everything just started freaking out. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to give my body a nice good reset. Maybe about 30-40 days. Yeah, that's good, man. That intermittent fasting is actually really good. And if you're doing it multiple times a week, it's amazing. Like, I don't know what like the cancer rate in India is like, but here it's almost as if it's like a quarter now. A quarter of the people, 1 in 4. 1 in 3, yeah, 1 in 4, I think. Oh yes, diabetic. That's true. Sorry, what does BP stand for? Diabetic is it's like a global crisis. Oh yeah, blood pressure. Yes, okay. Yeah. So like there's this one guy online. He I think if you follow the UFC at all, if you know Dana White, he had a health scare and he hired a guy named Gary Brecka. And Gary Brecka basically put him on like a high fat diet. And Gary Brecka put him on a high fat diet, and no sugars, no carbs, carbs, only strictly proteins and fat. And he was like, the goal was to basically retrain his body to no longer consume sugars, and instead consume fats. And ever since then, Dana White's health issues had basically did like a 180 and just turned around, and he's feeling pretty good now. His body looks good. Except one thing that he can't really do anymore is enjoy his pastas. Because he's like a huge pasta lover apparently. Like I think he might have it once in a while, like a cheat kind of meal, but Gary Brecka basically put him on this like high fat diet, so his whole body starts consuming fat inside his blood, and that basically lowers your blood pressure over time. Oh, for 1 year. That's interesting. How did it go? Oh, yeah. Keto diet. Yeah. I guess that's true. Come to think of it. Coconut oil and 1 protein: chicken, mutton, fish, prawns, eggs. What's mutton? Is that sheep? I forget. Oh, lamb. Yeah. Okay. Prawns and eggs. Yeah, that's pretty good. He got into the best shape in his entire life. Wow, that's amazing. And but there's no, is there fasting? Like, is he doing this like an intermittent fasting where he only eats like maybe for 6 hours of the day or something? Or is it just a no fasting? Okay, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Keto diet. What's interesting, there seems to be many different variations of it, because I guess like Paul Saladino is another guy in the States that's been pushing this on social media, and he's basically saying, hey, take a go all meat, all clean meat diet, and only eat meat, and he only suggests eating red meat. So I guess this is like another variation of the same diet. But I would much rather have like the chicken, mutton, fish, prawns, and eggs over red meat for the rest of my life. He eats guava or any fiber, but guava has the most fiber. Man, that's pretty good. Best shape of his life, eh? And it goes to show how much crap that we consume that essentially kills us over time. Like, I know in this like in North America, there's just a lot of like microwave dinners and like highly processed foods, like crackers and things like that, little snacks that you would normally give kids, like those are highly processed too, and it's just pure sugar slash pure wheat flour, and with no real nutrients, right? And except like massive amount of salt and carbs. It's around 44 while doing this. Beautiful. That's awesome. Did he have any health scares prior to that? Or did he just decide to do it because he did some research? Wow, that's impressive. Man, that is great. I find that the average person tends to be they tend to indulge in the things that are bad for us in life, and a lot of it's food based, right? And lifestyle changes, I think, are a rarity until you have a health scare. And especially when you're in your 40s, you're like, if nothing's wrong, why change it, right? But it's pretty impressive that your dad did that. It's great. But yeah, I'm thinking in terms of longevity too. But for me, I'm getting like, I'm having like skin issues, which is why I'm considering, well, which is why I'm trying to do it. And the skin issues likely means that something internally is wrong. So I'm it's like a red flag, if you will. Hence why I'm trying to do something about it. I don't want to lose weight because I think which is why the 3-day fast kind of worries me. But I really want to do a hardcore reset. And I didn't want to go as far as 7 days. Yeah, impure blood. Which could be due to many different reasons too. And they say it could be from your gut health. So oftentimes people have poor gut health and like food leaks through. Yeah, well, gut health is directly linked to pretty much everything, right? So like if you have a leaky gut, your blood is going to be filled with toxins and right, things that shouldn't be in there. And I guess it surfaced on your skin. So I figured I'd just clear everything out here, get a nice good reset, and we'll see how it goes. And then I gotta like readjust my actual diet afterwards. So I got about 3 days to figure out what the diet is. And then, yeah. So you're gonna call me out for taking stupid trades, right? If I say, hey, I'm in a trade, you're gonna be like, hey, you're dumb, don't take it. You're not thinking right. I think this is likely going to be an issue for Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, exactly. I got some fiber supplements, but I'm also going to adjust my diet in order to increase fiber intake. Yeah, dude, you should always call me out. Like, I'm perfectly happy with someone calling me out. You should be calling me out regardless. If you don't agree with my trade, tell me why. I'm happy to talk about it. Doesn't bother me. But I always understand that everyone has their own trade style, right? So, and what they're looking at, it could be very different, which is why sharing ideas kind of work well. Yeah, I would agree. Unless you're having like, it's not often that supplements are high quality either, right? So I'll definitely be adjusting my diet accordingly. There's a few supplement brands here that are pretty good. They're not like the most popular, and they're not the cheapest either, because they go through a little bit more rigorous testing, and they have higher quality supplements than others. So I have some things that I can use for supplements, but I don't want it to be the only thing. Yeah, it's 100% true. 100%. That's not just in India. Actually, in North America, they take it, like they actually take nutrients out of food. It's like the farming practices are kind of unreliable, or it's like it's so, I guess, quantity and speed based that the nutrients aren't there anymore. And they also try to throw things at you like highly processed foods, which also have no nutrients, and they're just empty sugars and calories, right? So a lot of people end up taking supplements, but the problem is a lot of supplements aren't good. And a lot of them aren't tested. And some of the supplements are actually some variation of that's not naturally occurring in nature. So it actually does more harm to your body than good. But yeah, I agree. Supplementation is impatience. Completely agree. I'm generally against medicine, some medicine, unless there's something that is acute and needs to be resolved immediately through antibiotics or something. But yeah, generally I'd say avoid medicine, because most of the time there's side effects. And the side effects are makes your body rely on additional medicines in the future. I think that's what Gary Brecka talks about, because he was a former insurance guy and health insurance guy, and he basically had a database that said, if you take this drug, you'll take this drug next, and then you'll take that drug next, and then a few years down the road, your life expectancy is expected to be this over this period of time based on these drugs that you take. And he wanted to make known to the public this information, but the insurance records wouldn't, the insurance company would not allow him to do this. So it was kind of funny, which is why he just left the company and started preaching about your health and how to take care of it through diets and or some supplements. Different approach, same goals. Damn. Yeah. That makes sense. The more you learn about the world, the more you hate it, you know? And then you have to kind of adjust. But see, this took me a long time to figure out. Like, you're only, what, 23, I think is what you said? You're in your early to mid 20s, which is wild. Like, this is why I thought you were like my age or older. No one talks like this at 23. Not in North America anyways. A 23-year-old would be out drinking with his friends until he passes out, and then do it again the next day, and then work hard between Monday to Friday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all party days. That's the early 20s and mid 20s in metropolitan areas within North America. And if they're trading, they're watching guys like Patrick Whelan or Jim Cramer. Whoa, who's TJR? Is that a new guy? Anyways, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I watched the charts throughout the day. TJR. Okay. Just based on that photo alone, I don't want to click on that link. But how many followers does he have? Okay, I'm gonna click on it. 1.47 million subscribers. All right. Yeah. Let me close this down. I can't. ICT trader? Yeah. I mean, I don't hate ICT traders. Like, I remember Tanya Trades. I like her demeanor. It's like very neutral. Brian Stonk for a little while. I like watching him. He's ICT too, I believe. But yeah, I find that a lot of them, when they come too big, they start pushing things onto their community or trying to monetize it. And I get it, I understand. But Tanya Trades has been pretty consistent in, hey, I'm only doing YouTube, and she does like a few shows like Ninja Trader. But yeah, like I just like her demeanor. She just trades and win, you lose, you lose. She's definitely pretty big too, I think. She has a lot of followers, but I don't know if it's in the millions. I thought it was only in the hundreds of thousands. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when she had a lot less followers. Anyways, I'm gonna call it. And then I'm gonna go stare at food and drink water instead. I'll catch you tomorrow if you're around.